Scentsy consultants are employees. Scentsy has been able to mine free marketing and sales support from their consultants. The cost of sales and marketing that Scentsy has thus far offloaded on its consultants is massive, and in return, plaintiffs were paid virtually nothing. Due to their alienation from traditional workplaces, those targeted by Scentsy tend to be less familiar with their labor protections and with employment law generally.
The parties hereby waive their respective rights to trial by jury.
Welcome everyone. In today's video, we're diving into the class action lawsuit filed against Scentsy and breaking down the key allegations. If you're still selling for them, you might want to pay attention because this kind of lawsuit has happened before and the outcome didn't go well for the other MLMs involved. So if that interests you, please stay tuned. I'm sharing this at the very beginning for those who might not watch the entire video. If you want to join the class action lawsuit against Scentsy or any of the other lawsuits this law firm is pursuing against other MLMs, I'll leave the link in the description below so you can fill out the form. Right now, I know they are especially looking for former reps from doTERRA and Amway. I'll also pin in the comments the link to Wendy's Facebook group, a safe, supportive space where you can connect with other Scentsy consultants, ask questions, and get real answers. Wendy, thank you for all the work you are doing behind the scenes to help people get the information and support they need. Thank you for your continued support of my Scentsy videos. If you haven't seen them, I'll leave the Scentsy playlist in the description of this video so you can catch up on everything going on. In my previous Scentsy video, Orville suggested that Scentsy consultants couldn't even negotiate a price, and yet somehow they managed to coordinate and hit Scentsy with a class action lawsuit. In my very first Scentsy video, I remember saying that the positive thing about the 2025 Scentsy changes was that the consultants were speaking up on YouTube, because in past years, MLM reps weren't even allowed to ask questions, let alone express how they felt about anything publicly. I am very happy to see that Scentsy consultants have taken it a step further by taking action and holding Scentsy accountable with a class action lawsuit. The countdown has officially begun. Whether it's the end of Scentsy altogether or just the collapse of their MLM model, this lawsuit is the beginning of the end, in my opinion. In my first video, I pointed out that Scentsy was following in the footsteps of Beachbody, now rebranded as Body, and this lawsuit is exactly the kind of legal trouble that pushed Body to shut down its MLM side. Coincidence? I don't think so. And honestly, Scentsy consultants should be worried, really worried, because the law firm that is coming after Scentsy, they did not come here to play. Let me introduce you to the Clarkson law firm, the same powerhouse that successfully went after not one, not two, but three major MLMs. Beachbody, aka Body, they filed the class action, and boom, the MLM side got shut down. Then came Rodan and Phil's, same story, lawsuit filed, MLM side gone, and the third, Herbalife. That was the most recent target late last year. Yep, that dinosaur is still standing for now, and I know it's probably gonna be one of the most difficult ones considering the size of it, but trust me, it's only a matter of time before it goes down too. And now it's the turn for Scentsy. The two companies shut down their MLM operations not long after the class action lawsuits hit for very similar allegations. So if the past is any indication of what's coming next, Scentsy, I hope you got a plan B, or better yet, that you, Orville, are 5 to 6 business chess moves out and you have something in the works. And for the record, this is just the beginning. There are more MLMs on the chopping block. But for now, let's talk about the class action lawsuit and why Scentsy should be sweating harder than a consultant during end of the month sales panic. I was not sure where to put this section. I'm literally in the middle of editing this video, right? And then Julie drops a very interesting video that you need to go watch. Apparently, and I wish I was joking, Scentsy is allegedly asking consultants to waive their rights related to this same lawsuit. So let me share a little bit of it.
Recently, they've added this new agreement for their consultants to sign, and they're going to waive all their rights to a potential class action lawsuit, or if there was anything that went wrong, they're waiving their rights to a trial by jury or any other court. So this is this section 6 apparently of this agreement. So check this out. I mean, look at this. It says mandatory individual arbitration agreement and class action. Section 6.3 says arbitration. Now look at the second paragraph. Except as expressly provided herein, in order to promote to the fullest extent reasonably possible a mutually amicable resolution of disputes in a timely, efficient, and cost-effective manner. And they've written this in all caps and bolded. The parties hereby waive their respective rights to trial by jury or any court. Here is the section where it says notice of California class action lawsuit. Notice of class action lawsuit. I do want to just read some of this to you. Before agreeing to the amended agreement, including the arbitration agreement, Scentsy wants to ensure that you are aware of class action litigation currently pending in the District Court for the Northern District of California. We just want to make you aware that we're being sued. And if you want to maybe sue us one day, well, you got to opt out of this agreement. And we have a very special email. It's just a special email just for this. If you want to opt out of this arbitration agreement, you must send an email from the email address associated with your Scentsy account to arbitrationoptout@scentsy.com. Please include the following information in the body of your email. And there's 3 bullet points here. It says the name, first and last, associated with your account, your consultant ID, and then, quote, opt out of the California arbitration agreement, end quote. To discourage people from signing anything with Scentsy, to even just avoid buying Scentsy products, because you should look at their terms of use and conditions on their website, even as just a consumer. It's alarming. Here it says, when you submit or make available any information or materials through the forums or otherwise through any Scentsy website. So backing up here, what they're referring to as forums is bulletin boards, chat areas, similar forums. This would be Facebook groups, I imagine, that people join. You acknowledge and agree that those submissions will be non-proprietary and non-confidential, may be made available to the general public, and may be used by Scentsy without restriction. You grant to Scentsy the worldwide, perpetual, royalty-free, irrevocable, non-exclusive right and license, sub-licensable through multiple tiers without compensation to you. I just want to say how much I love my wax warmer, and now you're telling me that because I posted that in a Scentsy Facebook group, that Scentsy could actually profit off my image and my testimonial. They can use it in perpetuity. I have no recourse. That's disgusting.
Please go check this video in full on Julie's channel. I will leave the link in the description below. Give it a like, comment, share so the algorithm pushes it to more people and more Scentsy consultants can see it. And I'm just sitting here like, of course they are. Cowards. Because if Scentsy truly has the truth on their side, if they're so confident they're going to win this class action lawsuit in California, they would not even bother doing something like this, right? Like, make it make sense. If you are a Scentsy consultant and you don't see this as shady as I don't know what to tell you, because it is. Why would a legit, loving, family-based, and religious company with nothing to hide need to pull some like this? Especially when they're out here saying with their whole chest how much they love their consultants. Yeah, this doesn't scream we care about our consultants or we love them. This screams we're screwed and we're trying to save our asses. Because if this is what love looks like from Scentsy, I hate to see what betrayal looks like. Anyways, now let's go back to the video. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer and this is not legal advice. I'm just sharing my interpretation of the court documents for educational and commentary purposes. The lawsuit is nearly 200 pages long, but no worries, I'm not going to read it all. I'll focus on the most important things, but I'll leave the link to the full document in the description below for the people interested in checking it out. Let's check what is the class action complaint. Oh, I want to give a shout out to Valerie Winning and Charity Bentley. Thank you so much for bringing this lawsuit. And of course to the Clarkson firm. And it reads, class action complaint. Number 1, failure to pay minimum wage and liquidated damages. Number 2, failure to pay overtime wages and liquidated damages. Number 3, failure to provide rest periods or rest break premium wages. Number 4, failure to provide meal periods or meal premium wages. Number 5, failure to timely pay wages during employment. Number 6, failure to timely pay wages upon separation. Number 7, failure to keep requisite payroll records. Number 8, failure to provide timely and accurate wage statements. Number 9, failure to reimburse business expenses. Number 10, breach of contract. 11, unfair competition. I will talk about these allegations, but first I would like to read some of the things that I thought were interesting from the lawsuit. Introduction. Scentsy is a massively successful company that for years has exploited its California sales force by misclassifying its workers as independent contractors rather than employees. Despite calling these salespeople consultants and designating them as independent contractors, consultants are in fact Scentsy employees under California law. Scentsy has violated numerous provisions of the California labor code and applicable IWC wage order by denying its consultants the compensation, benefits, and statutory entitlements that they are owed. 5. Scensy's ability to avoid accountability to its employees thus far turns on the fact that it operates as multi-level marketing business, in parentheses, MLM. Scensy's recruitment tactics purportedly promise its consultants the opportunity to build a business. In reality, however, they supply free marketing and sales support that will otherwise cost Scentsy a staggering amount. Scentsy strictly controls the work product of its consultants, in part by ensuring that they follow its rigid guidelines for marketing content and recruiting materials. 9. Plaintiffs were victims of Scensy's practices. Like all consultants, in accordance to Scensy's strict marketing and sales protocols, plaintiffs were trained by other consultants and through Scensy's materials and were required to market, distribute, and sell products to the public in accordance with Scensy's instructions and parameters. And in return, plaintiffs were paid virtually nothing while incurring unreimbursed personal costs to perform the work on Scensy's behalf. Additionally, Scentsy breached its contract with its consultants when, without notice, it imposed a materially different consultant agreement that robbed a large portion of its consultants of a monthly commission bonus of 5% that they were previously entitled to for life and for which Scentsy was contractually obligated to provide at least 60 days notice of the change. I remember that when the Scentsy 2025 changes happened, there were so many Scentsy consultants talking about this commission that was supposed to be for life. They were pretty upset, so I'm glad that they included this as well. 33. But Scentsy has for decades exploited its California sales force of consultants by misclassifying these so-called consultants as independent contractors rather than as employees. And knowingly and willfully misclassifying these employees, Scentsy has been able to mine free marketing and sales support from their consultants. The cost of sales and marketing that Scentsy has thus far offloaded on its consultants is massive. The actual figure to be revealed through discovery should this matter proceed to litigation. 34. This is particularly egregious, as Scensy's workforce is primarily comprised of marginalized and financially insecure individuals. Scentsy targets and recruits women who are often shut out of traditional workplaces, such as those with criminal records, women who were raised in or who are active in certain religion communities, women with child care responsibilities, and military wives. Due to their alienation from traditional workplaces, those targeted by Scentsy tend to be less familiar with their labor protections and with employment law generally. Unfortunately, these women, already stretched thin energetically and financially, are less well positioned to understand their rights as workers, less likely to identify when their protections are violated, and less able to seek recourse when such violations occur. Scentsy consultants are employees. Number 1, controlling law. Companies like Scentsy were never supposed to be allowed to run an entire business on the backs of independent contractors. People who work in a company's core line of business are its employees. Scentsy claims an unprecedented portion of its workforce as independent contractors. In its most recently published numbers, Scentsy disclosed that it had over 230,000 consultants and 1,500 employees. Last year, Scentsy claimed 99.9935% of its workforce as independent contractors. 42. Scentsy employees perform a variety of roles. Some work as recruiting managers, copy and translation managers, commissions managers, executive assistants, and warehouse operators. These workers receive special treatment from Scentsy, including benefits such as health, vision, and dental insurance, tuition reimbursement, 401k, plans with matching contributions. Moreover, Scentsy offers the employees it lays off severance based on their years of service. In contrast, Scentsy retains the right to unilaterally terminates its consultants at its discretion and declines to offer terminated consultants severance. 43. But the consultants who make up the bulk of Scentsy workforce are denied even the most basic protections of federal and state labor laws. Scentsy does not pay them minimum wage, it does not pay overtime, and it does not reimburse business expenses such as internet connections, laptops, smartphones, or post promotion over Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Its classification of its consultants also deprives them of basic protections against discrimination and harassment. 44. By design, independent contractors are exempted from nearly every labor law, but this classification was not meant to be a loophole for companies like Scentsy, whose consultants are effectively modern-day telemarketers. Historically, firms reserve the independent contractor designation for entrepreneurial individuals whose skills demanded higher pay in the open market. With this in mind, legislators rationalized excluding independent contractors from most employment laws because these individuals did not require the same legal protections as potentially more vulnerable, less skilled employees. Today, Scentsy preys upon many of the most vulnerable members of our society. Despite being a 40 billion industry, the vast majority of people involved in them don't make money off of MLMs, and many people lose money. In its 2024 report on MLM income disclosure statements, the Federal Trade Commission determined that most MLMs depict an income distribution that excludes MLM participants that receive little or no income, and that income disclosure statements do not count for the expenses participants shoulder by their participation. Scensy's 2024 income disclosure statement indicates that on average, Scentsy consultants make little to no income. In the statement, Scentsy tracks the annual commissions of 129,019 of its consultants, and it shows that for those enrolled for the full year, the median commission was $466.56, less than $40 a month. This paltry sum does not include any business expenses consultants may have incurred during running their businesses, such as the 15 per month consultant personal website fee, starter kits that range from 150 to 225, or the cost of purchasing newly launched products from which to create samples as sales aids. In recent years, state legislators have taken action to send a clear message that most workers should be employees. California has adopted the ABC test to determine whether a company like Scentsy has misclassified its workers as independent contractors. Because employee status was meant to be the default, the ABC test presumptively considers all workers to be employees and permits workers to be classified as independent contractors only if the hiring business demonstrates that the worker in question satisfied each of these conditions. A. That the worker is free from the control and direction of the hirer in connection with the performance of the work. B. That the worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. And C. That the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established business of the same nature as that involved in the work performed. You might be wondering, what is the ABC test? If you want to go a little more deeper and with some examples and everything, I actually found a great article from Labor and Workforce in California, the official website. I'm gonna leave it in the description below in case you want to dig a little deeper. It does show like some examples and all of that, so you can understand it better. I wanted to show this quick video because they do explain it briefly.
Every day, millions of us wake up and deliver packages, care for the sick, drive people around town, and do lots of other important jobs that keep our country moving. Many of these workers have been told that they're not regular employees, they're independent contractors. That means it's much more difficult for them to access labor protections like a minimum wage, paid sick time, and the right to form a union, which can be devastating during times of crisis and instability. Companies intentionally call their employees independent contractors just to boost their own profits. And it allows these companies to shirk their responsibilities, like paying a fair wage, paying into workers' comp, and other duties that all employers have. That's why we need laws that use a simple test to clarify which workers are employees and which are truly independent contractors. A worker should only be called an independent contractor if A. The worker is free from the company's control and direction. B. The work is outside the company's usual course of business. And C. The worker regularly puts themselves out there as an independent business. If a company can't show that all three criteria have been met, then the worker needs to be classified as an employee with rights and protections under the law. Labor laws should use this simple test so that working people have basic economic security. And we need to make sure these laws are strongly enforced. To keep this country moving forward, we must protect the rights of all workers. Join us in the fight.
I'm also going to leave this article. It's from the National Employment Law Project in case you want to read it or watch the video again. Now that we know what the ABC test is, let's go with Scentsy's allegations. At the end of these documents, there are different exhibits, and one of them is the notice letter that was sent to Scentsy, and I thought it was great to use since it explains in a more simple way what it's in the court documents. Number 1, willful misclassification of an individual as an independent contractor. California law prohibits the willful misclassification of an individual as an independent contractor when they are in fact an employee under California law, and it gives, the codes and everything. Willful misclassification means avoiding employee status for an individual by voluntarily and knowingly misclassifying that individual as an independent contractor, and it gives a code. When an employer willfully misclassifies an individual as an independent contractor, the employer is subject to civil penalties, and it gives like a bunch of numbers. Scentsy willfully misclassified Ms. Wennings, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees as independent contractors because it has been clear for several years now under California law that its consultants are in fact employees under California law, and it gives a code and everything. Insofar as such consultants are under Scentsy's control in performing their selling duties, the selling duties that consultants do is within the usual course of Scentsy's business, and they are not engaged in any independently established trade, occupation, or business, even under a looser definition of employees. Consultants would also be considered employees because Scentsy controls the manner and means through which Ms. Wenning, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees carry out their duties, including but not limited to restricting advertising, restricting what channel products may be sold through, and providing proprietary lists and direct consumer leads. Number 2, failure to pay minimum wage. Scentsy violated California Labor Code section, and it gives the sections and wage order. Number 4, by failing to pay Ms. Wenning, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees at least minimum wages for all hours worked. Primarily, this was due to Scentsy's having misclassified its consultants as independent contractors rather than employees. Ms. Wenning, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees were required or knowingly permitted to perform all their work duties off the clock, including but not limited to training, communicating with Scentsy, and selling and marketing Scentsy products and services. By failing to pay Ms. Wenning, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees any wages for their time spent performing work duties for Scentsy violated Labor Law Code section, and gives the codes, which require employers to pay at least the legal minimum wage to their employees. Number 3, failure to pay overtime wages. California Labor Code section 510 and wage order number 4 require employers to pay no less than 1.5 times the regular rate of pay of the employee for hours worked in excess of 8 in one workday, for hours worked in excess of 40 hours in one work week, and for the first 8 hours work on the 7th day of work in any one work week, and to pay no less than twice the regular rate of pay of the employees for hours worked in excess of 12 hours in one workday, and for any work in excess of 8 hours on any 7th day of a work week. During the relevant time period, Ms. Wenning and other aggrieved employees work over 8 hours in a day and or 40 hours in a week without overtime compensation because Scentsy failed to pay them for their work duties as described above. This was in turn due to Scentsy's unlawful misclassification of consultants as independent contractors rather than employees. On occasions when Ms. Wenning and other aggrieved employees had already worked 8 hours in one day, performing all the work off the clock, Scentsy failed to pay them any overtime compensation due. Therefore, Ms. Wenning and the other aggrieved employees were entitled to receive overtime compensation compensation from Scentsy that Scentsy failed to pay, violating labor code 510, and we go to number 4. Number 4, failure to provide rest periods. California law requires employers to provide their employees with an uninterrupted rest period of no less than 10 minutes for every 4 hours or major fraction thereof worked. Give some codes, blah, blah, blah. When an employer fails to provide a rest period, an hour of pay at the employee's regular rate of compensation is owed to the employee. It gives some codes, whatever. Scentsy failed to provide Miss Winning and other aggrieved employees with an opportunity to take timely, uninterrupted rest periods of the requisite length, free from employer control. Scentsy also failed to compensate Ms. Wenning and other aggrieved employees properly for the non-compliant rest periods, including inter alia, missed, short, late, and or interrupted rest periods. Scentsy also failed to pay premium wages for the many rest breaks that Ms. Wenning and their aggrieved employers were deprived of. Indeed, Scentsy did not provide any rest breaks or premium compensation for missed rest breaks to Ms. Wenning and other aggrieved employees, since Scentsy improperly classified its consultants as independent contractors who were not entitled to rest breaks. 5. Failure to provide meal periods. California law requires employers to provide their employees with an uninterrupted meal period of no less than 30 minutes before the end of the 5th hour of work. When an employee works more than 5 hours in a day, gives a bunch of codes. Second meal period of no less than 30 minutes must be provided before the end of the 10th hour of work when an employee works more than 10 hours in a day. It gives a bunch of codes. When an employer fails to provide a meal period, an hour of pay at the employee's regular rate of compensation is owed to the employee. Scentsy failed to provide Ms. Wenning and the other aggrieved employees with an opportunity to take timely, uninterrupted meal periods of the requisite length, free from employer control. Scentsy also failed to compensate Ms. Wenning and other aggrieved employees properly for the non-compliant meal periods, including inter alia, missed, short, late, and or interrupted meal periods. Scentsy also failed to pay premium wages for the many meal breaks that Ms. Wenning and aggrieved employees were deprived, or indeed Scentsy did not provide any meal breaks or premium compensation for missed meal breaks to Ms. Wenning and other aggrieved employees. Since Scentsy improperly classified its consultants as independent contractors who were not entitled to meal breaks. We're halfway there. Let's keep it pushing. Number 6, failure to timely pay wages during employment. California Labor Code Section 204 requires that all wages earned by any person in any employment between the 1st and the 15th days, inclusive of any calendar month other than those wages due upon termination of an employment, are due and payable between the 16th and the 26th day of the month during which the labor was performed, and that all wages earned by any person in any employment between the 16th and the last day, inclusive of any calendar month other than those wages due upon termination of an employee, are due and payable between the 1st and the 10th day of the following month. California Labor Code Section 204 also requires that all wages earned for labor more than the normal work period should be paid no later than the payday for the next regular payroll period. During the relevant period, Scentsy failed to pay Ms. Wenning, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees all wages due to them, including minimum wages, overtime wages, and meal and rest period premium wages within any time period specified by California Labor Code Section 204. Moreover, Scentsy failed to pay Ms. Wenning, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees earned commissions in a timely and complete fashion. Number 7, failure to timely pay wages upon termination. California Labor Code Section 20122 provide that if an employer discharges an employee, the wages earned and unpaid at the time of discharge are due and payable immediately, and if an employee quits their employment, their wages shall become due and payable no later than 72 hours thereafter, unless the employee has given 72 hours notice of their intention to quit, in which case the employee is entitled to the wages at the time of quitting. During the relevant period, Scentsy willfully misclassified Ms. Bentley and other aggrieved employees as independent contractors rather than employees, and willfully failed to pay them overtime or meal meal or rest break premiums for missed breaks during their employment with Scentsy. When consultants such as Ms. Bentley and other aggrieved employees were terminated or quit, Scentsy willfully failed to pay them all wages to which they were entitled. Moreover, Scentsy failed to pay Ms. Bentley and other aggrieved employees all commissions owed to them prior to their termination. Scentsy's willful failure to pay such commissions during employment carried on following the termination of Ms. Bentley and other aggrieved employees' employment. Failure to keep accurate payroll records. California Labor Code Section 11740 requires an employer to keep at a central location in the state or at the establishments at which employees are employed payroll records showing the hours worked daily by and the wages paid to and the number of piece rate units earned by and any applicable piece rate paid to employees employed at the respective plants or establishments. These records shall be kept with rules established for this purpose by the Commission, but in any case shall be kept on file for not less than 2 years during the relevant period. Scentsy failed to keep accurate and complete payroll records showing the actual hours worked daily and the wages paid to Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees. 9. Failure to furnish accurate itemized wage statements. Labor Code Section blah 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 requires an employer semi-monthly or at the time of each payment of wages to furnish wage statements to its employees, setting forth inter alia 1. Gross wages earned. 2. Total hours worked by the employee. 3. Number of piece rate units earned. And any applicable piece rate if the employee is paid on a piece rate basis. 4. All deductions, provided that all deductions made on written orders of the employees may be aggregated and shown as one item. 5. Net wages earned. 6. The inclusive dates of the period for which the employee is paid. 7. The name of the employee and only the last 4 digits of their social security number or an employee identification number other than a social security number. And 8. The name and address of the legal entity that is the employer. Scentsy failed to provide any wage statements to Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees despite being required to do so. Accordingly, Scentsy is subject to civil penalties under Labor Code Section 226.3. And the last one, we're almost over, we're almost done, okay? Failure to reimburse necessary business expenses. This is the part that I love. Labor Code Section blah, 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 requires employers to indemnify their employees for all necessary business expenses that they incur in direct consequences of the discharge of their job duties or in direct consequence of their obedience to the directions of the employer. During the relevant period, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees incurred necessary business-related expenses and costs that were not fully reimbursed by Scentsy. These costs include, but are not limited to, the use of personal cell phone and computers, Wi-Fi and internet connections, premium memberships for access to sites like YouTube that consultants were required to use to market and sell Scentsy services and products, home office equipment, ring lights, other equipment for making content videos, among other expenses. Indeed, Ms. Bentley, and other aggrieved employees absorb all the costs associated with marketing and selling Scentsy products and services at their own expense and without reimbursement by Scentsy. Ms. Bentley, and the other aggrieved employees are entitled to reimbursement for all such expenses. Scentsy has violated, caused to be violated, or is currently violating numerous provisions of the California Labor Code as described above. Ms. Wenning and Ms. Bentley respectively request that the agency investigates the above allegations and in any event provide notice regarding its intent to investigate pursuant to Labor Code blah blah blah. If the agency does not intend to investigate the alleged, Ms. Wenning respectfully request a letter confirming the same so that we may bring a civil action seeking civil penalties and injunctive relief under PAGA against Scentsy for the violations described in this letter. Please note that we intend to file a civil complaint and to bring the appropriate claims under Labor Code blah, blah, blah. Should your office decline to investigate but decline to issue citations within the time frame set out in Labor Code blah, blah. Should you require anything further or have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you for your consideration. Shout out to Glenn and the whole Clarkson law firm. That was a lot. If I thought that Scentsy was going down before with this lawsuit, I'm 100% sure that it's going down even faster. So if you want to know my thoughts, my personal predictions about Scentsy and the Scentsy alternatives, I share all of that in my first Scentsy video if you want to check it out. This video was my opinion and for education and entertainment purposes. I will leave all my sources in the description below. Like I always say, please do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Don't believe everything that people say online. Question everything and everyone, including me. Let the evidence tell you what's real or not. It means a lot that you took the time to watch my video. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me to know what kind of content you'd like to see more of. And if you found this video helpful, share it with someone who might need it. Help us reach more people. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing for more anti-MLM content. And the best thing about YouTube videos is the comments, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. This also helps the algorithm reach more viewers. As you all know, this is a brand new channel. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Until next time, take care and stay safe.